Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and all the beans in between. I have something horrendous to admit. I was wrong. I know. Oh, let that sink in for a moment, because I'm sure you absolutely can't believe it. I was wrong. In case you didn't see my last video, which, to be fair, I don't blame you if you didn't, I dropped an absolutely scathing review of Wicker Man, pretty much. I ran through the whole layout, calling the whole thing pretty much rubbish. No airtime, nothing. And I will say, at the time, I believed that thoroughly. 2 days ago, I had a ride on row 10 of Wicker Man. I can now confidently say I was wrong. I couldn't tell you why I'm reading this like an apology video. I'm not apologising for anything. My opinion has frankly changed. I believed what I believed and I believe what I believe now. That was far too many beliefs for one sentence. Anyway, I've yammered on for far too long. So essentially what I'm going to do is go back to that old video and just listen to what I had to say and correct myself now. But now, with my fresh opinion from an actual good row 10 ride, wasn't quite the back, but we'll take it. Here is my updated review and run through of Wicker Man's layout. Firstly, we have the pre-lift. It is nothing special. You get thrown around a bit, which I guess is fun, but otherwise nothing special. Not too much to interject with here. The pre-lift is fun. It's nothing outrageously special. I don't disagree with myself much here. The lift hill is wonky, and you kind of bounce up it for some reason. It is very fun to watch everyone go, whoa, 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 as they go up the lift. It's very strange. So you're going to see this come up as a common theme throughout the old video. But when I go on like a complaining rant about something like this, I will just sort of build on that until eventually I start complaining about nothing and like start just throwing in things I just outright don't believe. Like, I don't know why I'm talking about the lift hill as if it's bad. Does it look a bit silly? Yes. But does any other coaster in the world have a wonky lift hill? I don't know. I haven't seen all the lift hills in the world, but probably not. They probably don't have one like this. You then reach the first drop, which does nothing because you don't have enough speed going into it. Interestingly, I find that I'm agreeing with myself a lot more than I'd like to here. I do still think the first drop's weak. I don't think there's anything to it really. Even nearer the back, you just don't go fast enough to get any airtime. The first airtime hill is okay sometimes if you get the correct row. However, every time without fail I'm on row 7, so I never get the good row. You know what? Yet again, he has a point. Get this man a true. That airtime hill, it's got the same problem as the first drop. You just don't have enough speed going into it. Does that make it bad? No. Do I think on the back row you could maybe get some airtime? Yeah. But once I get on the back row, I'll let you know. And then we reach, get ready for this, the one good part of the layout. That S-bend drop goes insanely hard. We love the S-bend drop. This must be a really boring video to watch. I've just been agreeing with myself so far. Unbelievably, the one positive thought I had before has not changed. I do still think the S-bend drop is the best part of the layout. The speed and the whip you get down that drop is just insane. Directly after, the long drawn-out turn until you hit the Wicker Man. I get this turn kind of has to be there to lead into the rest of the layout, but this is probably the most boring part of the whole ride. What is this guy yapping about? I'm sorry. You're genuinely telling me I sat there and complained about a turn? A 3-second turn? This is what I mean. I will get so caught up in what I'm saying that I will just find anything to complain about. What on earth am I on about? That turn, while it doesn't add much to the ride, is necessary to lead to the rest of the ride, you actual moron. Now we reach the most boring part of the whole ride. You go through the Wicker Man and come into this big, like, banked turn, which just does nothing. Yet again, I'm just finding things to complain about here. While yes, this turn also doesn't really add much to the ride, and it is a bit slow, you get to look down at the queue, I guess. It isn't the strongest part of the ride, don't get me wrong. If anything, it's probably one of the weakest parts of the ride. But it has to be there to lead to the rest of the layout. There's no point in complaining about it if it's just not going to change anything. Do I think they could have, like, profiled it differently so you go through it with more speed? Definitely. Would that improve the ride? Yeah, probably. But is it bad that they didn't do that? No, not really. We're in the ride. You then drop to the right through the Wicker Man, which I'll admit that is quite a good element. It seems I didn't even mention the 2 smaller, like, bunny hops you have before you dive through the Wicker Man. But let me tell you, towards the back, those things will absolutely murder you. I was not expecting them, and they launched me out of my seat. Both of them were just ridiculous. It was amazing. Slow, boring, flat turn, which just does nothing. This is the most useless part of the ride ever. What is the point? I'm going to stop him there. I talked about that turn for about 5 minutes. I do still think this is the weakest part of the ride, sadly. There's no avoiding it, really. I mean, out of this whole now brilliant layout, a boring flat turn is going to stand out horribly. I do think there is wasted potential here. I don't know exactly what they could have done better, but I do still think this is the weakest part of the ride. It just completely kills the mood. Like, you've just gone through those insane, like, bunny hops through the Wicker Man, and then you just hit this boring, flat piece of track for 5 seconds that just completely... I don't want to say it kills the mood of the ride, but it kind of does. Like, you go from that insane airtime to just sort of nothing. I do still think this is the worst part of the ride. They could have done better with it. Either way, moving on. Admittedly, quite a good drop on the back row from the one back row ride I've had, into a smaller airtime hill, which once again does nothing. Okay, I actually forgot about this, but I have been reminded through that video. I have had one back row ride on Wicker Man, but it was genuinely years ago. I don't remember it very well. But I'll take my word for it there. I'm sure that was a very good drop in the back. On row 10, it was a good drop as well. It was a nice way to get you back hyped up after the flat turn. And the airtime hill afterwards still really doesn't do much. It's more of a speed hill, really. Back through the Wicker Man, you get soaked by the mist a third time. You head round into another weird, drawn-out airtime hill. And then from there, you reach the sequel to the flat turn in this weird, flat, not quite a brake run, but a brake run. Yeah, as the text at the bottom of the screen points out, I genuinely was just waffling at this point. There is very clearly brakes there. I thought there wasn't brakes there. I thought that was just another long, straight, like, flat turn for some reason. But no, that it does serve the brake run. But it is weird. You have to admit, it is a very weird entry to a brake run. You do enter it and then just don't slow down throughout the entire turn, and then you hit the brakes. I don't know. Yeah, again, I complain about nothing. That's not a bad thing. It's just a very weird way to end the ride. Oh, and that airtime hill before, that is a very good airtime hill. That, honestly, did not expect it. That does go very hard. But it is, you have to see where I'm coming from here. It is a strange thing. It is a strange way to end the ride. It's just like a kind of no brakes, just sort of flat turn. Either way, still not a bad thing. And that brings us to the end of this rerun through of the layout. So, what are my opinions overall of Wicker Man now? I think Wicker Man is an incredible ride. It's a brilliantly themed experience from start to finish. You have, of course, the incredible pre-show, the amazingly themed queue, and Big Bob himself, the incredible, impressive centerpiece of the ride. As for the ride itself, I think it is good. It's definitely a back row ride. You need to get down towards the back. Anywhere in the middle, or maybe even towards the front, it's not as good of a ride. But towards the back, you are out of your seat for a good majority of the ride. You will have a lot of airtime. There is an annoying, weird, boring flat turn. There is a weird flat turn, sure, but what are we going to do about that? Overall, Wicker Man is a brilliant ride. I think I was definitely too harsh on it. And now that I've gotten an actually good, proper ride on it, I can confidently say, this is an incredible ride. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this rather short video where I just complained about myself from the past. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye!